Welcome, everyone, to Riga, Latvia, day number 1 on week number 1 of the Junior Grand Prix. I'm Ted Barton, along with my friend and colleague, Mark Hanratty. The Paris Short Program coming up in just a few moments. Mark, it's early in the season. What can we expect to see here? There are 11 teams from 8 nations.
Yeah, as you say, early in the season, so perhaps expect the unexpected. It'll be interesting to see how things unfold. We can assume that the Chinese teams will be strong. There are North American teams who are strong too. Many of those will be vying for places at the Junior Grand Prix final, which will take place later in the season in Nagoya, Japan.
A little earlier today, the women's short program, we're going into the pairs, and then that'll be followed by the men's short program coming up a little bit later this afternoon. 11 teams take to the ice from 8 nations in the pair short, and it starts right now. Welcome, everyone, to Riga, Latvia, day 1 competition. The Paris Short program coming up in just a few moments. I'm Ted Bart, along with Mark Hanratty, as we run in from the opening there, exhausted. I got to stop shouting. I speak way too loud. You're very calm.
Oh, really? Maybe that's not normal. Normally, I'm the overexcitable one. Maybe I'm pacing myself.
Oh yeah, don't wait. You'll get there. With that high voice.
Then you'll be turtling me to
high voice
down.
of yours. Yeah. Listen, welcome everyone to the first day of competition. Now we have a special announcement to make. Now.
Very
exciting. We can do this now. We didn't do this on the women's, but we can do this now. We have the access to the technical panel, so we can hear the technical panel process during the performance and the post-performance as well. And one of the, as we take a look at the start order or the judges for the Paris Short program. One of the things that the ISU is doing, and Mark, we've talked about this, the 2030 vision, bringing a new way that people can understand the sport better, have access to more information. And so the ISU is beginning to experiment with the technical panelists. They are so professional and so incredible what they do as we currently take a look at the start order for this event. So the first step is that we are now able to listen to the technical panel, Mark and myself, during the performance. Now, we don't speak during the performance, as you well know, but we can listen to the tech panel as what they're going through in the process. So you'll hear us a little bit refer to what we're listening to, perhaps, or really our analysis is pretty similar to the technical panel. There's not a lot of difference in there at all. But we wanted to bring this information to the viewers that this is the start of an experiment and to find out how the technical panels process and decisions can be utilized for education and for interest within the figure skating television community.
Yeah, and I think transparency is effectively what everybody's eager to showcase, a transparency in the sport. And for some fans that perhaps haven't competed or haven't had the abundance of lessons that the athletes on screen have had, then they can't always comprehend the results that they then see or the scores they then see. And so opening up the audio for us to hear the technical panel just allows us to all have more transparency in understanding what constitutes the results that we see. And interestingly for us, having known that this is something that would be debuted, if you like, on the Junior Grand Prix, we've had discussions and we've heard many people reference other sports where that kind of transparency has been evident. I know that in rugby that's something that's discussed. I know that people have referenced as Formula One, where they can hear and listen into the headsets, and I think that's just a part of this Vision 2030. And one of the Go ISU Vision 2030 elements is innovation, and to innovate the way that we are working and to evolve the skating product to be relevant to the next generation. And so effectively that is a tick box for that kind of way of thinking in an attempt to promote the sport.
When we developed the system many years ago, I was involved in that, and we always knew that this could happen, that we could do it. But at that time, everything was a little bit more fragile, of course, and we were still learning how to put that whole process together and make sure that everyone was protected, the skaters and the officials and whatnot. But, we're past that point now, and it's great that the ISU is looking at different ways to engage the audience and bring a whole new facet, if you will. And we're starting this journey, and we're lucky. I feel very fortunate and honored, actually, to be able to do that, because I've been on technical panels for many years and always thought that it was so interesting, so professional, that people should be able to hear it. So we're starting that process along that road. It'll be other people who make the decisions, of course, but we wanted the viewers to know. We're going to be listening to the technical panel during the performance. We'll bring you what we think. I'm never going to get into, they said that, none of that stuff, but just learning about how it's done, the timing of that, professionalism of that as well.
And I think also we have to then give a further shout out to the members of the technical panels who are then exposed isn't the right word, but who have then been asked, are you willing to be heard? Are you willing to be opened up? And everybody has been open to that, and that's further testament to their honesty, their professionalism, and their willingness for transparency in the sport too.
And I was just reminded also, we will be talking about AI, and that's another aspect that is deep in research right now, and the ISU working with Swiss Timing on the development of AI for things like under rotation. So it's not one camera angle, which every skater has a bit of a different location on the ice that they're doing the elements. So the one camera, it's the best they can do. The technical mentor does an amazing job with the tools that they have, but they need more tools. So AI will play a part in the future. How that gets done exactly, the parameters around that are still being developed right now. So that's a new sort of breaking story, if you will. It's a news flash that the ISU is doing. And I was very involved with the development of the judging system that we're currently using after Salt Lake City. I always believe in innovation. I believe in always thinking and progressing, and that's what the ISU is doing with 2030. I support everything that they're talking about. We may or not like the decisions, not the issue, but the effort to improve our sport and how people see it and understand it is a great effort.
And effectively, Vision 2030, which we will reference and continue to reference, one of the definitions is together. We strive for excellence as the preeminent winter sport that inspires and develops athletes, new skaters, and fans worldwide. And that is the driving motivation for all of the discussions that we're referencing, to inspire and develop athletes, new skaters, and fans worldwide. And so all of these initiatives have a very wholesome and practical desire to work.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about this a little earlier today, that, some people have their opinions. Wow, that was this and that was it, because they don't understand this process because it's been hidden or not available. We'll put it that way, not available to them. And I think as this gets opened up and there's more transparency, people say, oh, now I get it. People try to explain it, but once you hear it, you understand it. But kudos to the ISU for doing this, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's, knowledge is power. I don't necessarily think, skaters or fans want power, but knowledge is always a good thing, and we're getting more and more knowledge.
Absolutely. Well, there's a look at our first team in the Paris short program. And they represent France. Clélia Liget Latas and Alan Daniel Fischer. They're coached by Lola Esprat, John Zimmerman. Choreographed by Silvia Fontana and Marina Zueva. 32.71 personal best, the Czech skate last year on the Junior Grand Prix. And they'll skate the short program to Within by William Joseph.
high 10 to celebrate for Claudia Ligier-Lattus and Alan Daniel Fisher representing France. And interestingly, their technical score is almost comparable with their total score from the Junior Grand Prix in Czech Skate in Ostrava last year.
And it was interesting listening to the technical panel during this performance. And at the end, they said 7 elements, no reviews. And it's rare that you see that. So that was pretty cool. And as you mentioned, there's their technical score higher than their overall score.
Almost, and such a testament really to the progress that's been made, and really, really impressive improvement. And Alan has acknowledged he also competes in singles as well, and he finds it a challenge to balance both singles and pairs, but is interested in seeing the different aspects in them as we look at the split double twist. And this season, a throw toe jump, so throw flip, loops or toe loop here. Side-by-side double axles, done well.
Yeah, really well. And there's the reverse group 5 lift, the most difficult. Change of position, change of hold. And this comes in at level 3. So missing one of the features out of the 4 possible. Good turnout toe.
Nice.
By Alan there, really nice.
Oh, I like this rocker into the wally. Glad you caught that.
Yeah, well, you know, I was pushing buttons. There we go. Nice job. And they look pretty happy at the end of that performance.
And that is Marciello, a cuddly toy that I saw on their social media last night that I think travels everywhere with them.
I thought you were talking about the coach.
No, not the coach.
No.
And obviously Alan wanting to acknowledge Marciello.
Yeah. Well, good job. Good start to the pair short program. And, you know, we talked about this last season, that the pairs technically are a little bit further distance from the senior pairs, where we'll see in the women and the men's, you know, a closer gap between senior difficult elements and junior difficult elements. But in pairs, not so much. There's more of a gap.
And what's good, though, to see is that the success of the other French team that are competing here last year, facilitating more pair teams. Good to see 2 French teams here.
The scores are 45.87. They all reacted to that score right away. They look very happy with that. Boy, that's all you can ask for. That's great. Good start. Our next team representing Slovakia, Laura Hekova and Alex Volky. Laura 14, Alex 15, a young pair team. Junior Slovakian champions, also 14th at the Junior Worlds last season. This is their 2nd season on the Junior Grand Prix. They're coached and choreographed by Andre Hodorak. 45.95 personal best at the Junior Worlds last year. Their theme to this program is the Addams family.
Well, it's so difficult in the pairs short program to deliver a good piece of choreography when the elements require so much preparation time, and yet I feel that Lara Hekova and Alex Valky from Slovakia had a really good vehicle for the short program with its Adams Family piece. All that said, you can see the reaction of the couple as they head to center ice. There is frustration and disappointment because the mistakes made, but for me, the progression season upon season is hugely evident.
Oh, it's a good point. I mean, it's a good theme to allow them to have a little bit more transitional movements between elements, which pairs, it's hard to do because the elements take so long, the preparation around the end of the rink, the lift that goes all the way down the rink, the exit, all that type of stuff. So there's less time to perform or build a character. But in this case, I think they did a nice job.
Yeah, even from the start, as we look at the split twist.
It's in a level 3, so that's pretty good. Missing just one feature. There's the throw double flip. Minus GOE on that. And there's that double axel outside the circle and the takeoff for Alex.
And a point to note, Ted, as we look at the Group 5 lift. So this year for the junior pairs, mandatory different elements from last year which carry a higher base value. So with that in mind, we can expect to see some higher scores season upon season based on the technical element score base value being higher. This year, Group 5 lift worth more than a Group 4, and also the throw jump this year, likely Flip and Lutz, is worth more than the throw loop of last year. So that's what we can assume will happen. But actually, the first two teams very evidently have shown progression anyway in the way that they have showcased themselves, irrespective of the elements that they've got to do in this year's junior pair short.
Yeah, and you can really see these teams a little bit more, than we would in singles and perhaps even in ice dance, is what stage of development they're at. Because, as we said, there's a bigger gap between juniors and seniors in pair skating, but there's so much to learn, and safety that has to be taken into consideration. So do you want to start doing those really difficult elements too early? No, not wise. And so let's take a look at the scores here. A 43.49. And that'll put Laura and Alex currently into second place. They want more. That's good. And what will get that? Analysis after this event will help them move towards the next one. From Great Britain, 21-year-old Nima Davison and 20-year-old Danielle Borisov. Second year on the Junior Grand Prix, 10th last season right here in Riga. They're coached by Trudy Utmans, trained in Minnesota. 28.21, their personal best from last season skating to Hold My Hand by Lady Gaga.
Niamh Davidson and Daniel Borisov from Great Britain, a team that have had the strangest of preparations for this. They've had to be training through the night. Their rink is closing, and so they've had to travel to a hockey rink that gave them ice through the night. So they start training at 10 p.m. and finish 5, 6 a.m. And so this another testament to the commitment of the athletes. Indeed, Niamh living cross Atlantic, the commitment from these two to pursue the dream of competing at an international stage is monumentous.
Well, good research there, Inspector. well
thanks
done
to them for giving it.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at some of the elements in this program. There's the double axel step out. And the triple twist. That comes in at a level 1, but good on them to get the triple done. Nice pickup on that group 5 axle lift.
And
good
the ice
full
coverage.
cross. Yeah, wonderful turns.
They said they were training in a hockey rink, which is normally narrower than this, but they looked like they were running out of room on both.
Yeah, a little bit a break there on the landing, a little bit higher probably than normal. This is the back inside death spiral. Really well done. Good speed throughout. That comes in at a level 2, so missing 2 out of the 4 features there. And they, I was going to say that, congratulations, right on the eye, cover the eyes up there. Yeah, hilarious.
And this team, they have to move up to the senior ranks soon, and that is very much on their mind. They're conscious of what needs to be done, but Daniel has only been doing pairs for just 2 seasons, and already in their partnership, they've had to battle with injuries. He's broken his hand before, so they've had a host of challenges in their short period of time together. But what then is really good to see and gives me hope for their longevity is that interaction between the pair.
Yeah, they're supporting each other no matter what the situation is there, and you can see his fingers still taped up quite a bit. So overall, no matter the mistake, this was a bit of a personal victory. You could see that joy at the end. 42.26 for Niamh and Danielle, and that'll put them currently in the 3rd place. Now, it was so interesting, Mark, as we talked about that we can hear the technical panel, and their process. And because let's talk about the step sequence. Step sequence is a lot to take in and to watch for those clean turns that we talked about and all the details that are required in the step sequence, where they assign specific duties by each one of the technical specialists. One look for upper body, one look for this, that. So they say a yes or a no during that, to sort of validate, okay, we've got a yes on the upper body, we've got a no on the turns, that type of thing. So it's real teamwork. When you hear that, you go, wow, that's because there's a lot of detail to look at.
And the technical panels that are calling and what we're able to now fortunately get access to listening into have been working together already this week. So they will have been here for the practices, so they will already have established a kind of baseline expectation for what is required to achieve various features. So as an example, we were just hearing that this year the change of foot as a jump, there's an expectation that will be more evident and demand more strength and skill of the skater. So those kind of discussions and those assessments of what is minimum to call are something that's already evident in the team's preparation. So you don't just have a technical panel rock up and decide what's happening on the day of the event. They're there working together in advance, and behind that they also have had to pass various exams. So we really are working with the best of the best in regards to
and I think it's fair to say that when they're watching the practices, maybe on the practice session the skaters don't achieve the particular features, but they do in competition, or vice versa.
Yes.
It's not that they prejudge that practice session at all, but they're aware of what the strengths and weaknesses are of the skaters, so they're going to be paying particular attention to the detail to make sure it's done in competition and evaluated properly.
And then sometimes it may be the case of what features are the skaters going for, so that we can then assess, do they meet the requirements of... so, yeah, really great to have the access to that level of transparency.
And eventually, it'll be nice if at some point people are able to hear at least the process during the program. You'll say, wow, is that ever professional? It's so it's just like an air traffic controller. I mean, it's just not emotional. because they don't care what costume they're wearing. They don't care what they're skating to. They don't care if there's any emotion. They care about what did they do and what the level of difficulty, specifically based on the criteria.
And that's often the case when, as you say, there's no emotion in the assessment of the technical panel. And then sometimes I've heard technical panels then will finish an event and not necessarily even know who they enjoyed or who they didn't enjoy, because they're so fixated on the criteria that they've got to give levels or calls rather than what's good or bad.
I wouldn't even say not necessarily. I've never seen a technical panel say, oh, I love that program, because they're so focused on breaking it down technically, they're not even unaware, right?
Ted?
Yes. Is this a question?
We have been so treated by fans of the International Skating Union's social media because they have sent in some questions, but better than that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got somebody, the handle at Women with Madness has
the title, I'm already worried.
She's written into the ISU and said, Ted, you are glowing. And isn't that the truth? You are looking like a man who has less work and more fishing time.
Glowing.
Obviously very healthy and well.
Oh, okay, that's great. It's good. Well, the makeup helps, but you know. Anyway, that's awesome. I love this. Love covering the Junior Grand Prix for so many years, and these kids, and working with you. It's such a joy and a privilege. And not having as much to do in my life has given me perhaps a little bit more focus and also enjoyment, because life goes by so quickly that sometimes you look back and you say, gee, I wish I would have enjoyed that more. But I absolutely enjoy this, especially now.
Yeah.
Despite you.
Despite
so,
me. What I will also acknowledge, as we've... Oh, wow. Hello.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, hello. Is we've had a host of questions come through, Ted. Far too many to get through this warm-up group. So those that have sent in the questions, look at that. Oh my goodness, we've never been so popular. Maybe that'll
Stop
fade
looking at them. Read them.
Okay, I know, but there's far too many to even start.
Okay.
I should do a quick fire round. What's your favorite jump? Go.
Lots.
We did that already. How long does it take for a costume to be made? Oh, you won't know the answer to that, will you?
I would say 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
What does it take for a skater to get on the Junior Grand Prix?
What do you mean, what does it take?
They have to be of a certain age.
Yeah, they have to be at 13 years old.
And they cannot be...
As of July 1st.
Over 19 as of July 1st if they're in the singles.
Yep.
They can't be
over
23
for 23.
The
Oh, yeah,
pairs.
that's right.
And also in this event, in the pairs event, there cannot be an age discrepancy of more than 7 years.
Yeah, there you go. Well done.
Has Ted watched Dune yet?
Dune?
Yeah, the film that everybody skated to.
Actually, no.
Well, there you go.
I love it, though. I love the theme. I got to watch it. I've seen parts of it, not all of it.
Oh, not a question, but I'd love to thank you guys making heartwarming comments. Thank you very much, Mint7_20. Most memorable moment you had as a commentator?
I've done this now, I don't know, 12 or 13 years. There are too many here for the moment. You're asking at the moment. I'd have to think about that a little bit.
I could quickly...
Good or bad moment?
Yeah.
There's been many bad ones.
Me getting the wrong name of the world champion earlier on in this broadcast today, that was probably a pretty memorably bad moment.
But I'll give you my memorably best moment, or most memorable off the top of my head, is watching Senior World Championships and seeing an eruption of emotion in an arena in Saitama in Japan when the Japanese were winning.
Yes,
or being in Canada when the Canadians are winning, and a whole arena going crazy and somebody skating cleanly and people crying and me thinking, I've got to speak on the microphone and I want to cry.
And for me, it's been emotional moments watching these juniors from the years and seeing them now as seniors. Like, you feel like you've sort of, been part of the family as they move along. So, okay, back to work, Mark. We gotta. So good. Okay. You've got lots of ammo for the rest of the. Okay, where are we here? Well, the next seed represents Germany, brother and sister teams Sonja and Robert Lohenherz. 16 for Sonja, 21 for Robert. Third Junior Grand Prix season. They are Germany's second-ranked junior team, coached by Rico Rex, choreographed by Paul Boll. 41.24, their score from last season, 2 seasons ago on the Junior Grand Prix. I'm sure they'll beat that here. Skating to New Sensation and What You Need.
brother and sister pair of Sonja and Robert Lowenhertz representing Germany. Great to see them back on the Junior Grand Prix. And they, I'm sure, like so many of the teams here, will be vying to try to secure the minimum technical element score required to compete in next year's Junior Worlds.
Yeah. So interested listening to the technical panel on the step sequence because you've got three aspects. You know, you can hear two no's and one yes based on what they're looking for, what feature they're looking for. So it's really broken down into pieces and analyzed separately so that the team is working together. And it was so interesting to hear that. They do such a good job. Let's take a look at some of the elements. And Sonja and Robert's short program seem to have been out of the Junior Grand Prix for a number of years. It's the double twist. It's in the level 2. So 2 out of the 4 features is the double axel, but one did a single. No, that's no. Did they both do doubles?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been, yeah, they did? Okay, good. It was called for a review. Under-rotated, actually, on the double axle. There's the Group 5 reverse lift that comes into level 3. Lost a lot of speed there at the end of that lift. Here's the throw double Lutz.
Good save.
Minus GOE on landing of that. And that difficult spin to get in unison. And even in the seniors, you don't see often perfect unison. It's so difficult to get it in sync.
Yeah, the side-by-side spin is so often that which has the least guaranteed good grade of execution, as you say, right up to the senior ranks in the world's very, very best. Ice dancer Robin Tweeda accompanying the team here, and I think that as we look at this brother and sibling painting, it's almost more impressive than any of the teams that we've seen thus far, that they have such a good connection, camaraderie, and there seems such a good respect, which as a sibling pair, I think, really admirable.
There's a look at the score for Sonja and Robert, 36.98, and that'll put this team currently into 4th place. Our next team represents China, Xuan Qi Zhang and Wen Qianfeng. 14, 17 years of age, coached by Yang Ding. This is a new team. Interesting to see what they come with. They're going to skate to music from The Last Emperor. You know, Mark, we had talked about there was a wide gap between juniors and seniors, but in this case, I don't think technically is such a wide gap. They may not be at the top of seniors for sure, lots to work on, but they are of senior quality, at least for the difficulty of what they did.
Yes, absolutely. And I love to see that honesty in their reaction and the joy in their faces. And that's when, you know, when we see seniors, we see a professionalism and a kind of expectation of conduct. I love to see that junior reaction of reality of, oh, we just did what we came to do. Happy days.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what a great job. And that's going to garner a very nice score, I would think.
Well, last year in Ostrava, they had a 54.14. I think from memory, they could only do one Junior Grand Prix last year because there weren't as many Junior Grand Prix qualifying spots for China. Right. So they won their one event, but there weren't enough spaces for more. But
there's the triple twist, and that comes in at a level 3 triple twist. That is awesome. Here's a look at the triple flip, throw. Nice, solid landing. Double axel side by side. Little far apart. That'll come together, but that's been really picky. Nicely done. And there is the Group 5 reverse lift, level 4 as well. Pretty good ice coverage. And a little slow. You see then juniors, those lifts slow down a little bit. They don't quite have the power and strength and flow across the ice that the seniors do. The back inside death spiral, at the end of the program, in at a level 4 as well. So they're getting the levels of difficulty plus good GOE scores as well. So this score is going to be really big. The personal best is 54.14. I think they're going to beat that here. And still happy.
Yeah, and yeah, really fun to see that reaction from them. You know, there's such an amazing dynasty of Chinese pair skaters, and you know, all founded by Ben Yao from his participation in the 1980 Olympics, and now a very new generation coming through with this year's Junior Grand Prix and last year's too.
Well, let's take a look at the score. 60.84, and they look thrilled with that as they take the lead. Nicely done. And what will come in the free program? That's a great start.
Excited to see.
Our next team represents the United States of America. 19-year-old Naomi Williams and 22-year-old Lachlan Luer.
And this, the team that had such a nightmare travel getting here. It took them 48 hours due to a host of flight cancellations. We wish them all the very best. A fantastic lift to finish the program from Naomi Williams and Lachlan Lear. And as I said before they started this program, they have had a nightmare trying to just get here. They arrived yesterday late in the evening, and yet even upon arrival and this morning after so little sleep, they have conducted themselves with such a positive attitude, which has been utterly admirable. And the lack of ideal situation hasn't prevented them from
Yeah, the team leader was telling us they got stuck in St. Louis. They had to stay overnight. Then they went to Atlanta. I think they had to stay over another night. And then they arrived just before I did yesterday. So they've had a huge trip, difficulty here. But as the team leader said, to have such a positive attitude and happy to be here, it didn't really bother them that much because the excitement was there. And we could see in that performance, so well done. Boy, what a great final lift. And we'll look at that.
And they've worked with a pro dancer from a finalist of So You Think You Can Dance. So the technical elements, as we see with the double axels, were good. But the commitment to the second mark, evident also.
And here's the side-by-side spins, which is always difficult. We talked about how hard that is to get it in unison. That's a work in progress that many don't reach, even at the senior level, for the unison at least.
Especially when they're doing the feature whereby they can't see one another.
Exactly. And some of the step sequence here. And here's, look at that little hop into the Group 5 reverse lift. Such a difficult entry by itself, let alone that little jump. Change of position, change of hold. Difficult position.
And
a little bit awkward coming down, but that, they were preparing, just getting that balance on the shoulder.
And what dynamism from Naomi.
Yeah.
As they're joined by Natalia Mishkatinuk, Olympic champion herself, who works alongside Drew Meekins as part of this team, and Danny O'Shea and Eddie Shipstead. There's such, as we've said before, an army of people behind this performance.
What a great personality Naomi's got. You know, lots of energy.
And you know what we're seeing here with the quality of the performance is in largely part not just because of the amazing team of coaches that they have behind them, but also the reality that they have to move up to seniors, and so they are conscious of the need to post scores that are competitive. And you know, they could be age eligible for seniors in the Olympics next year. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's take a look at the short program scores for Naomi and Lachlan. 58.13. They look pretty happy with that. Coordinate that high five all around. And there's a look at the leaderboard, top 5 so far in this event. Final team in this group, representing the United States, Addison McDonald and Aaron Felberbaum. Addison, 17, Aaron is 25th last year at the U.S. Nationals, 7th in Ankara on the Junior Grand Prix last season. They'll skate To Breathe by Tommy Profit.
A utter joy for Addison McDonald and Aaron Felberbaum from the United States of America, and it's particularly poignant because both of Aaron's parents are here to watch, and that's not something that's possible too often, as you see fellow American teammates cheering them on and
jumping for joy at the end of the program. That just says it all.
Everything.
Right? Then the reality will come in the kiss and cry with the scores, but based on the performance themselves and the work that they've done to get here, they're thrilled.
And that's just, I think, a huge release of emotion and wonderful to see. And here, they're working with Timothy Leduc, but also Chris Kinnear and Alexa Kinnear, wonderful coaches. And you can really see, I mean, visually they look a little bit similar to them, but you can see the influence of their coaches and their movement. And of course, having such illustrious coaches is surely going to pay into their progression.
Great work to save those double axles. Nicely done. And here's a look at the throw. Triple flip, I think maybe one of the first times. Nice and tight in the air. 2-foot landing, of course, not pushing that free leg out. Starting to jump and the throw is easy. Checking out is hard. And you can see that is in process for learning. The Group 5 reverse lift. Nice pickup. Change of position and hold. Pretty good flow across the ice. Good turns. Difficult dismount. That is in at a Group 4. The back inside death spiral. A little bit later in the program. Little slow, just squeaking that out. Level 2 on that element. And just the end of the step sequence here. That comes in at level 3. Now watch this. Oh, too bad we missed it. But she was
the joy
jumping.
still evident.
Yeah, absolutely.
And congrats too to their coaches, Chris and Alexa, who've just become parents very recently. But I think back in the rink already supporting their students very soon after.
That's exciting, that's for sure. 47.90 for Addison and Aaron, and that'll put them currently in third place. That smile has not left Addison's face the whole time, yeah. Well, now there's going to be a nice resurfacing. And there is a look at the standing so far. Pretty close between first and second, just under 2 points. And much more to come with 4 more teams. Mark.
I think fortunately it looks like the majority of the teams that have competed already pushing up towards personal best. So that indication that, as we said, perhaps the technical requirements this year are going to encourage that, but good to see that all the skaters will come off the ice knowing they've got a new notch on their rankings with better scores. So hopefully lots of happy skaters and more to come.
That's what's so exciting about the juniors, because they can be thrilled at this early stage.
Yes.
You will see that in seniors only at the Worlds.
Yes.
Right? So we'll take a short break with the ice resurfacing. We'll be back with the final group in pairs. You're watching live coverage of the Junior Grand Prix Pairs Short program from Riga. Welcome back, everyone, to Riga. Final group in the parashort program takes to the ice. Mark, we have a lot of questions coming in.
We have indeed. Question coming in from @XEEPOEE. Oh, incidentally, actually,
What was that?
Before we get there, I should just acknowledge that we did have somebody posting a question to me on social media asking where they can send their questions. So it's the responses that we are being sent through are to the International Skating Union's Instagram. I think it may also be on other social media, but certainly I'm conscious that the question has been posted on the ISU's Instagram to send in questions for us. So feel free to continue to do so. From @XEEPOE, your favorite underrated skater. Go, Ted.
Was that to me?
Yeah, who's your favorite underrated skater? Sorry.
I'm going, that's a really difficult question, so I'm going, underrated. What does that mean? Maybe unknown?
Maybe so.
I think unknown might be
Or
a better term.
maybe not given enough recognition for their work.
That's a tough one. How about you? You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm ready. I was chomping at the bit
Okay.
to answer. So for me, sometimes I think that skaters that are underrated are those that are brilliant performers and storytellers, but maybe their technical element score isn't competitive enough to get them the recognition that they might. So we look at somebody like Jason Brown, who has got so much recognition because he had enough technical element prowess to make top group at Worlds. I really rate Josephine Taljegard, a Swedish skater in the senior ranks, and Jari Kessler, a Croatian skater in the senior ranks, because their performance ability is so brilliant. They don't necessarily have enough technical element score prowess to put themselves in contention, and so that's, I think, not as many of our skating community are aware who they are. But I think Josephine Taljegard and Jari Kessler, somebody let them know. That's what I think. Might make them a wee bit more jolly when they're training in preparation for the Olympic qualifier.
Oh my God! Did you write that out last
No, I
night or
didn't.
what?
No, I really didn't.
Oh my gosh, that was so well done. I'm not even going to try to compete. I have to
Okay.
think about that for a bit.
Okay, so, what is your take on how artistry has changed in figure skating over the years?
It's funny that people say, "Well, there's no more artistry with this judging system." I totally disagree with that comment. Sorry to be so direct, but I think there's artistry in everything that's being done. This is restricting from the perspective of the detail of the earning the points on a spin, for instance, whatever. So you wouldn't. You need that difficulty. That's the sport aspect of it. Did it take away from maybe some creativity, perhaps, in the spins? I think that's a fair comment, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but I still have seen some remarkable. Look at Yuzuru Hanyu. I mean, come on, you cannot tell me that isn't incredible artistry.
Yeah,
It isn't,
absolutely.
and many other skaters. So, I don't. I think that the artistry has been enhanced in our sport. It's a little bit different, right? Because it's not completely free because you've got all these other things to do. But I think people have been brilliant. The choreographers, they're amazing.
I completely agree, and I actually feel that the sport and the rules have given a more tangible value to artistry, and so that has then meant forced choreographers and skaters to be a little bit more conscientious in the delivery of the artistry. And I think overall it has created perhaps a broader spectrum of artistry, but maybe we don't see the innate natural artist. So there are some athletes that were just always going to be innately artistic. Kurt Browning doing Casablanca was always going to be special because Kurt Browning as a dude was just that charisma of Humphrey Bogart, is it? But I think artistry has generally improved. But as you say, it's maybe not as open as it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. If you could go back and skate
There's
one...
that voice.
Next, going higher. If you could go back and skate one program, which one would it be and why? Now, does that mean that you could be the person skating it and skate like them? Because that's a better one.
I like that.
I don't want to do
question.
my version of somebody else's.
Because I'm going, my program? No one would we had to skate 5 minutes, for God's sakes. Who would want to actually watch us for 5 minutes? Not me, that's for sure. Even myself. That's a good question for somebody, those special programs that just bring tears to your eyes because you know how incredibly difficult it was, number one, and how brilliant and how it made people feel. We're pretty crusty because we've seen a lot of skating.
Yeah.
So in order to make us feel something, it has to be at that high level. The 2003 World Paris champions,
Shannon Zhao.
Shannon Zhao. And because the moment was so special, and we talked about, it was funny, Joe Inman, a very famous American judge, just texted me, and he was talking, because I've worked with him on the judging system and whatnot, and he always talked about he was talking about the overall. Where does the overall program and impression and feeling that you got out of that program, where does that exist in the scores? And and talk a little bit about the overall. We're talking a lot about detail, but what about the overall? Anyways, Shannon Zhao.
It's interesting you mentioned that. For those that haven't seen it already, 2003 Worlds in Washington.
Yeah.
I recently watched that within the last couple of weeks, and I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because it's so emotive.
It was.
I suppose that's where, the question that was posed is about artistry in the sport. I can understand now that me crying with the emotion of somebody moving me so much, that's really special. It might not be a winning performance in the system, but that's special, and we're very lucky we have a sport that can do that.
Were you weeping or were you just crying?
It was more like a lump in throat, kind of tears in eyes. Wow, gosh, especially because that was when she was injured and couldn't feel her leg. So.
Okay, no, that's good. Oh, hey, we better get going.
Gosh.
From France, Roman Telemac and Lucas Collion.
And interestingly, this short program was one that is new. In the middle of July, they decided to completely change their short program because it wasn't fun enough for them.
I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett.
Romain Telemaque and Lucas Coulon from France, and you can see not the skate that they were hoping for, and we were so delighted to see some of their performances and their post-performance reactions last season. This obviously choreographed still, but maybe not with the same zest it would have
No,
if it had
exactly.
been a clean
But
skate.
you know, I love the raw. We always use the word passion. I should say, get energy of this team. They want to perform. You can see the energy and the effort to perform. You know, obviously things draw down a little bit when there's a mistake, but it's the desire and the effort is there
Yes.
in performance.
And you can see now, again, that release of emotions. There's just so much to consider. And I think in warm-up, the split twist was problematic. So the adrenaline and nerves will have been heightened. This was actually better than what happened in warm-up, but still tentative.
Look at the height. Amazing. And just couldn't hang on. You could see the reaction towards the camera. Here's the double axles. He managed to get that done. He pushes the free leg back really well. Back inside Desperal here. That's in level 2, so missing 2 of the 4 features.
And as we see there, Group 5 left, you can just see having to work hard a little bit on the takeoff.
A little unstable throughout the turns. Didn't carry the flow and speed, and they struggled throughout the program a little bit.
And maybe that is, they've made the decision very late in the off-season to change the short program because it wasn't right for them. So they have material that they enjoy much more, but just less rehearsed material because they made that choice. So, and furthermore, this team was a team who had that amazing season last year. They qualified for the Junior Grand Prix final in their home country when they competed in Grenoble. So they come in now this season with a different level of expectation, and that may be the reason that there is such understandable disappointment in the Kiss and Cry now.
Yeah, expectation slash, personal pressure they're putting on themselves, right? Instead of sticking to the development model and time frame. 43.69 for Romain and Lucas. And that'll put them currently in the 5th place.
Oh, it's going to be okay. Another day. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's what is really tough about the sport, those moments. Our next team from Canada, Eva Kemp and Jonathan Lizeroff. Missed most of last season, 17 and 21 years of age, coached by Kevin Daw and Lee Parkel. 57.91 on the Junior Grand Prix final last season, skating to Succession. Well, that was a strong program, Mark. This team had a great skate at their next gen camp. Coming out of missed last year a lot of time, they look re-energized, much more together. Go ahead.
I think, Ted, from memory or from our research, she had a lung collapse. She's had surgery. She had really rough time, and so how wonderful to see the bounce back. And they just had energetically everything about it was different. As you see Jonathan just going through his axle takeoff as he's nitpicking the less than stellar landing of that. But otherwise, the overall impression was that of a team that looked very much senior than anything else that we've seen, perhaps.
Comfort and confidence is now within this team. There's the triple twist that is in at a level 3, so just missing one feature. So that's a 6.68 points there. There's a double axle, little bit of a break on that, but that is really the only visible error. Here's the throw triple Lutz right on top. Nice. Very solid landing. Back inside Desperal here, comes in at a level 1 though. And that's currently under review. There's the group 5 lift.
And I think, to me, the transitional content throughout the program, the step sequence, the choice of hold that they had, they did their combination of turns, one of the features within a step sequence in waltz hold. That just so much more difficult as we look now at the
unison.
Excellent unison.
Yeah.
That was the only wobble. For me, they were just a little early in the end.
Oh my
musically,
gosh.
but hey.
Get out of here. Great job. Well, they have a season's best last year at 57.91. We'll see if they can top that score here. That's the best I've seen this team skate. And I don't think it was just a good skate. I think they're ready for this season. They're at a different level than they were in the past. Let's take a look at the scores. The short program, 62.67. And they're going, okay, we'll take that. And that'll put them currently into first place. Impressive. Our next team represents China, Yoxian Chen and Yinbo Dong, 13 and 16 years of age. No international competition record of note yet. This is their first Junior Grand Prix. They're coached by Yang Ding. And they'll skate the short program to the soundtrack of Cruella.
How wonderful there to see Yun Bodong just checking in his partner Yu Xuan Chen to see if she's okay, given the mistakes made. But I think Yu Xuan Chen is the youngest in the pairs event here, and I find it fascinating because she appears to have been primed exactly for pairs. She looks like, with the double axel, although there was a mistake, she looks like she could triple easily and could easily make success as a single skater. But it kind of suggests that whilst there has been a little bit of a break in the Chinese dynasty, that there's this resurgence and that these youngsters are being picked for the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can see the team that is in second place right now, sort of the leaders from last year's experience, and this is a new team out. Fine, go get experience.
And we've got to acknowledge the Dalmatian spots on both costumes. Subtle, but appreciated.
Okay. Here's the double axels. We'll take a look at her. Just a little slow rotation position in the air. Has to take the fall. Here's the double flip throw. Under construction. Getting ready for the triple. Spread eagle into the back inside death spiral. Difficult entry. And that comes into level 2. So missing 2 out of the 4 features, or just planning perhaps to have a level 2 at this stage of their development. There's the group 5 difficult entry axle lift. And this is in level 2 as well. So keeping things relatively, perhaps as a new team, keeping it relatively simple and gaining some experience.
Yeah, given the ages that they're at 13 and 16, as we look at their side-by-side spin, this will be a team that will have to stay in the junior ranks for 3 more years at least, and so they don't have to be rushed. They can be given the time, hopefully with a long-term athlete development plan that will take them through to a later Olympic Games.
Yeah, you can see the youth and excitement and inexperience at the moment, but that's what they're here for.
Yes.
That's what the juniors is all about, is put your toe in the water and feel the temperature and get used to it as you continue your journey.
And, same coach as the team that are currently in second place, and so they will have training mates that can push them, and that so often, as we've said, competition breeds competition, and Yang Deng leading this next charge of Chinese pair skaters.
And here the score is 47.30. That will put this team currently into 5th place. And they look pretty happy with that. Both teams did. They understand what they're here for. And in this case, in this team, is gain experience. Our final team in the pair short program represent Czech Republic, Azbeta Redova and Jindrik Clement. And they'll skate the short program. They're going to build a mountain.
Well, their second season together, and this their first Junior Grand Prix. Alzbeta Kviderova and Jindřich Clement from Czechia, and I thought their Build a Mountain program was so fun and engaging. And their coach, Peter, said that he hopes that they enjoy the atmosphere of the Junior Grand Prix and learn all the lessons from it. But already I think that they've conducted themselves competitively.
Well, we always talk about gaining experience, and it is a competition, and they're all working towards doing their best and seeing where they end up, and then going back home and doing the comparisons and, planning their next stage, if you will. But it is all experience as we take a look at the opening of this program. And double twist, that is in level 2. Here's the double axles. A little bracket before that. Steps off the end of the edge. That was pretty nicely done.
Comparable elevation from both Shi and He.
Good save and getting that free leg back in time. Little loose with the free leg coming out of that jump. There's the group 5 reverse lift pickup. And you can see the legs just separate there for a bit before the turn starts. So that slowed it down, and you can see a little bit of scratchiness. Being safe, though. Better to be safe in this development stage. And the back inside death spiral, that is in at a level 2.
But interesting to note on the slow-mos here, in and out of every element, there was a commitment to the performance as well. So the program components, I think the presentation component should be high, as Czechia is showcased in the Kiss and Cry.
Final team in the pair short program. The score is 48.76. Look pretty happy with that. Yeah, they look a little bit surprised. I think they were anticipating a lower score.
Yeah, definitely.
That's nice to have that reverse. Oh, that's a surprise.
That doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't, yeah. Look, she's going, whoa, okay.
No, she's thinking about the free skate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that is the results after the short program in the pairs event. Canada, China, and the United States, top 3 teams, and look at the rest of the field. Well, interesting to listen to the technical panel. Once again, we'll be mentioning this throughout the day, that we have the channel to the technical panel, which is a new initiative that the ISU is making to find out, is there a way that we can bring more information to the audience? We're not doing that yet. It's coming to us, of course, and they do such a great job. And I'm so excited that at some point, when the audience gets to hear how well it is done, they'll say, wow, we did. They always talked about it, but we never knew it.
Yes.
Right? So kudos to the ISU and their Vision 2030. Mark, any final comments?
I just really impressed with the junior pair short program. It's obviously the first of the season, but I feel conscious of the fact that the elements are different, but the scores are good and the skaters seem happy. So pairs looks, so far, at this early stage in the Junior Grand Prix, to be in good hands.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're going to take a short break. Up next will be the men's short program. And that's going to be interesting. Of course, we have Ryo Nakata from Japan, last year's junior world champion Yahao Lee from New Zealand, and some other great skaters as well that are going to be challenging for the top. So make sure you join us for that. That's coming right up after the Ice Resurfacing. Stay with us, and we will be back.